Hey there guys, welcome to AFC Game by Game. This is my preview for Arsenal's match this Saturday at home to Watford. A game I'm really looking forward to, but first and foremost, before we get into talking about the game itself, I think there's one thing that we've got to address, and that is the inevitable departure of Aaron Ramsey. It's recently been confirmed, in fact the news came out last night from David Ornstein that Arsenal have pulled the plug on a 4-year deal that was agreed between Arsenal and Aaron Ramsey. I'll get onto that a little bit later about why the club pulled out, but it's a really bitter pill to swallow, to be honest. Whatever your opinion is on Aaron Ramsey, he's a guy that scored 2 FA Cup final winning goals. He's been at the club for a decade, a man that I've got a huge amount of admiration for, and the fact that he's the last of the British core to leave the club shows what a shambles and what an absolute botched project that was. So it's a real shame that he's going to be leaving the club, and it's again shoddy business from Arsenal to not get this sorted in the summer. The exact same is happening what happened with Alexis Sanchez last year. Now, I like Aaron Ramsey a lot more than I like Alexis Sanchez on a personal level, but the fact that we haven't got the business done when it needed to be done, I'm at a stage now where Arsenal are in this rebuilding process. Players that don't want to be at the club, in my eyes, should just leave. I don't really have the same sort of love for players as I once did, because football is a business now, and I find if I get myself far too attached to players like Fabregas, like Van Persie, like Nasri, you end up being absolutely devastated in the end. In the case of Aaron Ramsey, he's a player that really divides opinion. As I say, personally, I really like the guy. I would have loved for him to stay on at Arsenal, but in terms of the bigger picture, if he leaves, I don't think we're going to miss him that much. I think we've got fantastic options in this team. With Torreira coming through, with Guendouzi coming through, I think we've got a young and robust midfield. Ramsey, his head has not been in the game this season, let's be brutally honest. His performance haven't been at the level that I would want to see from Aaron Ramsey. And then we've got players like Maitland-Niles coming through. I do think if we lose him, then we've got to invest in the midfield. That goes without saying, but it means that Mesut Ozil can go back to number 10. We play Mkhitaryan on the right-hand side. We've got Aubameyang on the left, Lacazette up top. I mean, it's still a very exciting front line. I don't think it'll cause us too many problems. Ramsey playing in this number 10 role this season, it doesn't work. He gets too far forward. He's not involved in the game as much as a central midfielder should be. I don't think he's part of Unai Emery's plans, if I'm being brutally honest, and I think that's why the club have pulled the plug on this deal, which is a shame. And it does really perplex me, considering that Emery said Aaron Ramsey was one of his 5 captains this season. So it's really baffling in that sense. I'm really confused as to why the club would agree a 4-year deal, go through these negotiations that have been going on for what feels like forever, only to pull the plug on it. And now, if we change our minds, we're not in a position to negotiate now. We've said no. It's not Aaron Ramsey that said no, it's Arsenal that have said no. And it's obviously a difficult one, because the benchmark for wages at Arsenal now is going to be what Mesut Ozil is being paid, which is in a region of about £350,000 a week, which is ludicrous for anyone to be getting paid that much amount of money a month. But in terms of a marketable asset, Mesut Ozil is the most profitable player at the club in terms of the brand deals he can bring in. You see what he does with Adidas, what he does with loads of other brands. He's worth a lot of money to the club, and that's why I won't say justifies that wage, but that's why the club are paying him that amount of money. Aaron Ramsey's going to look at that and think, I do just as much work as Mesut Ozil does. The benchmark has to be that. I want to be earning upwards of £200,000, which is still 100 grand off what Mesut Ozil's earning. So it's not, I can't really blame him, to be honest. If you're in a realistic situation, if you're in a job where someone who is doing maybe a little bit better than you is earning, over a third of what you're earning, it's mental. It's really crazy, and it was a terrible deal, that Ozil deal. I mean, getting him signed down to the club was fantastic, but the amount of money he's on, it just separates him from the rest of the squad. It's yeah, that was a bad deal, and it should have been more thoroughly played out. But as I say, in terms of a marketable asset, that's the way football's gone. That's why Mesut Ozil's getting that much money. But it does, it does bring situations like this one in the case of Aaron Ramsey around, and hopefully we don't see this too often. But whilst we've got a player that is singled out earning that much money, it's a very real possibility that if Lacazette has a great season, he could turn around in a couple of years' time and say, I want to be earning as much as whoever. It's not a good situation to be in when you've got a single player earning that much more than any other player in the team. It's not good at all, and it shouldn't be representative of how we want to go about doing our contract negotiations. But Aaron Ramsey leaving Arsenal Football Club, what do we do from here? What do we do with Aaron Ramsey? So the best thing for me would be if we can get some sort of deal over the line in January, like we did with Mkhitaryan and Alexis Sanchez. If we could, ship him off to Juventus and maybe get Dybala in, that would be fantastic. Obviously, won't happen, but if we could get him abroad, that would be brilliant. I don't want to see him go to Chelsea. That would be absolutely horrible. But if I'm looking in Aaron Ramsey's situation and I want immediate success, the only teams that are going to offer that to him in England are Manchester City and Liverpool at the minute. I mean, Liverpool haven't even won anything yet, so I don't want to get in over my head there. But you look at the most exciting teams, Liverpool and City are the two title contenders for me this season. Chelsea are rebuilding. Tottenham, I mean, he would never go to Tottenham. I don't know why I even said that. But Man United, there's lots of talk about a potential Pogba and Ramsey swap deal. If Ramsey's got any ambition, then he won't go to United. That club is an absolute mess at the minute. So the only logical move for me, if I'm in Aaron Ramsey's shoes, would be to go abroad. So I'd be looking at a club like Juventus. I don't think Barcelona will go in for him. I don't think Madrid would go in for him. So if he wants to take that step up and guarantee himself success in this last contract that he's going to get, you know, given his age, this is his last big contract. I'd be definitely looking at Juventus as a viable option. Their midfield hasn't been overly convincing this season, so they might come in for him, and we know that they love a free transfer. Just look what they did with Emre Can last season, so that could very well be what happens. But I don't want this dwindling over the club for, you know, the next 7-8 months. If he's going to go, I want him to go in January. I want us to move on and forget about him ASAP. It's a real shame, as I say. He's done a fantastic service to the club. He's won us 2 FA Cups, but it's time to move on. We are in a very dramatic stage at Arsenal where we need to be pushing forwards, and if he doesn't want to be a part of that, then get him out the door ASAP and get players that are fully committed to Arsenal Football Club. So, you know, if I was in Emery, get that deal done in January, get him out of the club as soon as possible, look to rebuild and look to learn without Aaron Ramsey in this Arsenal team from here on in, because we're not going to be using him as much, I would presume, given the news that's come out. And it would be stupid to become reliant on him if he does suddenly start performing in these next couple of months before January. So I'd look to put him on the bench, play him in Europa League games, and that's not me being overly harsh on Aaron Ramsey. It's just what the logical thing to do. What's the point in playing a player, becoming reliant on him, making him such a big important part of the squad if he's then gonna inevitably leave, and we all know he's gonna leave. So I'd definitely put him on the bench and then play him in the Europa League games where he can still be helpful there. Play him in the League Cup games. Only up until January, and then hopefully we can get some sort of deal done to get him out of the club and get someone new in to replace him. But that would just be my take on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on that one. But that aside, let's get into the game on Saturday. I've waffled on 5 so long about Aaron Ramsey now. I'm looking forward to Watford at home. It's a game that I'm seeing as a real test for Arsenal. We've played Everton, West Ham, Wolfsburg, Brentford recently, but we haven't played anyone that's been fantastic yet this season. I don't want to overpraise Watford, but they have been really good. The players that they brought in, the football they're playing, I'm really impressed with Watford this season, and this is a real, it would be a real statement if we won this game. Now it sounds silly, Arsenal winning at home to Watford would be a statement, but I think it would be a statement victory. You look at how well they're playing, you look at the teams they've beaten, the performances they're putting in. I think we've got a real chance of beating this Watford side, and it would be a performance and a win that would be worthy of praise, given how well they've done this season. But they are on a bit of a downward spiral at the minute. Having recently drawn with, I can't quite remember who they drew with, but they didn't get a win last weekend. Before that, they lost to Manchester United. So they're not picking up results at the minute, but they've started the season brilliantly. We know the sort of players they've got. We know they're danger men. We've got an opportunity here to make it 7 wins on the spin, which would be absolutely fantastic, and it would be, at the minute, one of the best records amongst the top 6, if not the best, in terms of winning streaks. Yes, we have had favourable fixtures, but let's not take away any credit from Unai Emery and the players. They've done really well to get these victories away from home as well, and it's a great opportunity at home to beat this Watford team. The changes I'll be making in the squad from last week, I don't know if I'll be making too many. It'd be great to see Rob Holding keep his place in the team, but I think he'll play against Wolfsburg Karabag next Thursday. So I think we're looking to see Socrates and Mustafi at the back once again. Mustafi was a little bit hit and miss against Brentford, so I hope he puts in a more convincing performance on Saturday. At right back, Bellerin will come back in. It will be checked between the sticks. At left back, that's where the questions really do arise, because Kolasinac is back now, and Monreal has played a lot of football recently, so I wouldn't have too many qualms about Kolasinac coming into the team, but given that he hasn't really had any minutes under his belt recently, it was a shame not to see him get on the pitch against Brentford in midweek. I would probably stick with Monreal just in this instance. In the midfield, Torreira and Xhaka as the midfield too, and then just ahead of them in the number 10 role, Mesut Ozil. On the right hand side, I'd really like to see Alex Iwobi start, given how well he's been playing recently. He just seems to be really suited to this Emery system. He's working relentlessly, and the thing is, if you're working so hard, then you still make yourself a valuable asset to the team, even if you're not having a great game. So that's why I'd like to see him start in this match. And on the left hand side, Aubameyang, through the middle, Lacazette. But we've also got other options as well. So we do have Mkhitaryan and we do have Danny Welbeck to play in those inside forward roles. So, you know, we're spoiled with choice really, and given how well Danny Welbeck's playing, I mentioned in my review of the Brentford game that he deserves a lot of accolades this season. He is playing really well, getting amongst the goals. So if he was to start on that right hand side, I wouldn't have too many problems with that, and it would allow us to have a little bit more width with his pace, with his power going forward. But I think Iwobi deserves a start, and I'd like to see him play against Watford on Saturday. I think he'll do a great job there. But I'm really looking forward to this game. Hopefully we can make it the lucky 7 wins out of 7. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Arsenal. I'd love to see us keep another clean sheet and build on that defensive performance that we had against Everton last weekend, which I'm saying that it wasn't that convincing, but at least we managed to keep a clean sheet. Anyway, guys, drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the Aaron Ramsey contract situation. That's the one that I really want to hear from you on. Let me know your score predictions as well. Subscribe to AFC Game by Game if you are new to the channel. And as always, I'll be speaking to you very, very soon. See you later, guys.